And a pleasant good evening on this Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction. I guess it's still afternoon. Still not used to these noon games the Kansas City Chiefs have been playing recently. So many primetime games, late afternoon games over the years. So I'll wish you a pleasant good afternoon instead on this Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Dan Lucero and Brendan Dzwierzynski with you to unpack a Chiefs victory, a 23-20 overtime win over the Indianapolis Colts, to move their record to 6-5, the first one-score victory for the Chiefs after 5 previous losses in such games. This is the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. You're also seeing us on Facebook, WIBW News. However you are watching this video, we thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't yet, like the Facebook page and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button or that like button. It doesn't cost you anything but a click to get more video content just like this. It did not look good when Kareem Hunt fumbled early in the fourth quarter. You could feel it slipping away, and not just the game. You could feel a season. You could feel an aura. You could feel an era maybe slipping away from the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe I've just been listening to too much Tony Romo, but that's really how it felt in that moment, that this was maybe finally the blow that the Chiefs could not recover from. And then they proceeded to play their best quarter and a half of football, maybe of the season, with their backs to the wall. When they had to have it, they came up with it. 4 3-and-outs for the Colts the rest of the way. The Chiefs put together a drive to get within a field goal, get the 2-point conversion. They don't score from first and goal, the 2 inside of a minute left to try and win it in regulation, settle for a short Harrison Butker field goal to tie the game and send it to the extra session. And then, of course, in overtime, another 3-and-out, and then a drive led by Patrick Mahomes and company to get Butker in position for another chippy to win the game. And we'll start there. That was one of those responses. There's that great old clip. I know I'm mixing my sports metaphors here of the old Houston Rockets coach, Rudy Tomjanovich, after the Rockets won their second straight title in 1995, where he says, never underestimate the heart of a champion. That was a game like that for these Kansas City Chiefs. That was a heart of a champion win. They were on the mat. They were flat on their back. They had been outplayed. They had no offensive answers. They had turned the ball over twice. Nothing was going their way, and they found a way to turn the game upside down and go and win a game that they positively had to have for the sake of their postseason hopes. That's what champions do. And the reports of the Chiefs' demise may have been a little premature. Brendan, your initial reaction to this Chiefs victory?
Initial reaction is they had to get a win, and they found a way to win the game. And, you know, we'll get into it over the course of the next few minutes, how I feel about this particular Chiefs team in 2025-26, but you had to find a way to win. And I think the biggest reason why, other than Shane Steichen shaving points, maybe, like that, he's my coach of the year up until today, and he decided I'm going to live and die with Daniel Jones. And I'll pick anyone else. There are 31 other coaches I could pick for that award right now. And a dude who says that against the Kansas City Chiefs, even a Chiefs team that is weakened compared to recent years, you ain't coach of the year. That is way too much faith in Daniel Jones for me to think you deserve any kind of award, no matter how well Jones has played over the course of the season. So I don't know what the hell he was doing with that play calling. And the Chiefs number 15 at quarterback. When's the last time, Dan, you saw that many throws over the course of the fourth quarter and overtime with that much velocity behind them from Patrick Mahomes? And we know he's got a top 5, top 6 arm in the NFL. But when is the last time you saw that many throws that he threw the piss out of in like short order? I'm totally serious. Like, it has been a long time since we have seen him rip it like that at such a consistent rate. And it felt, you know, the old Therese Paylor line, and it really fit for this team today. This felt like an over my dead body game, and for one dude in particular more than anybody else. And it felt like Patrick Mahomes, he's been in the league long enough. He's won enough. He has not been in this situation many times. In fact, never has been in this situation as a starting quarterback. Was kind of in it when he was a backup to it wasn't even really technically a backup in 2017 to Alex Smith when that team petered out midway back half of the season. He's never done this before, but yet he has the poise and the recognition of the situation to know I need to be great right now if we want to win the game. And he was, and he was absolutely spectacular. Enough guys made plays that you were able to get the job done. Hard for me to be too upset about getting a win when you absolutely had to have one. And the fact that they got this done, I do feel pretty confident they are going to make the postseason this year. It's going to take probably until the last week or so for them to lock that spot in, but getting one done here against a playoff team, a team that is in the hunt for the number one seed in the AFC, that is significant, and that is something that they, again, absolutely had to do, and the best player in the world said, I'm going to make sure it happens, and he did.
He had the ability to let it rip in the fourth quarter because I thought he spent the better part of the first three quarters not letting it rip. Tony Romo was pointedly critical of what he felt like Mahomes was doing wrong for the better part of the early portion of this game, going through his progressions too fast, not trusting that he would have enough time for things to open up, bailing the pocket a little too early. These are things he's done at various points in his career. If you can say that a player of Mahomes' stature and accomplishments has flaws, those are his flaws, and they were, once again, as has been the case before in his career, put on display by a Lou Anarumo defense. But in that fourth quarter, when there was no choice, when there was no holding back, Mahomes let it rip with some of his best throws of the season. That one over the middle to Rashee Rice that he turned into the big gain on the game-tying drive late in the fourth quarter, brilliant throw, let that play develop, stepped up in the pocket, threw a rocket. Throw wasn't perfect accurate, but he got it down the field to Xavier Worthy under some big pressure on the 3rd and 7 on the overtime drive. Just some big time plays by Patrick Mahomes with his arm. 352 passing yards for Mahomes today, his most in a game since October of 2023. So it's been a while since we've seen him be that prolific. But the offensive story today was not just Mahomes and his ability to lead those two drives in the fourth quarter and the winning drive in overtime. Kareem Hunt carried the ball 30 times in this game. It is not particularly good roster construction that you end up with Kareem Hunt and Clyde Edwards-Helaire as your running backs for an NFL game in the year of our Lord 2025. In fact, you might even say that's terrible roster management, that if those are going to be your guys. But Kareem Hunt ran like his life depended on it every time he touched the ball in this game. We have been asking the Chiefs to commit to the run. If teams are going to give the Chiefs the run, give the ball to your running back, let him get the tough yards, let him convert the short yardage plays, and the Chiefs committed to it in a way that I really haven't seen them commit to it really all season, and they were rewarded with a 100-yard rushing game from Kareem Hunt. Now, was it efficient? No, but it was successful. It kept the pass rush off of Mahomes just enough late in the game in some of those drives, that threat of the run. And Kareem Hunt deserves a ton of credit for the work he put in. He is past his best. We all know this. He is much better suited for those short yardage runs than to be an every down back. But he turned back the clock and delivered a running back performance that this team absolutely needed. I think they fed off of it, and I think they fed off of picking up his slack after that red zone fumble in the fourth quarter. You saw how Kelsey bear hugged him on the sideline as though that were a promise. We're not letting you be the reason we lose this game. You've played too hard. We're not going to let you be the guy that is the reason we lose. We're going to get your back. And then they all did.
I'm going to give you credit, and I do not mean this with even a shred of irony or joking to it. That is a sports talk masterclass Dan Lucero just put on to spin Kareem Hunt getting 30 carries in an NFL game in a positive way. This is a nightmare waiting to happen. And I'm sorry to be negative about this. I think the problem that is going to keep the Chiefs from winning a Super Bowl this year is they do not have enough good players on offense. They don't. They have Patrick Mahomes, who is the best player on offense. They've got somewhere around 3 really good offensive linemen, maybe even 4 if Suamataia is healthy and has a good game, because he's actually been quite good at left guard this year. The defense is solid at worst, very good at best. I don't think there are enough good, quote unquote, playmakers, quote unquote, skill position players on this team to win a Super Bowl. Like that's just what it comes down to for me with this group. And look, this is not Kareem Hunt can only do what Kareem Hunt can do at this point. Like that is a roster problem, as you led off with, Dan. Like I'm not mad at Kareem Hunt. He didn't go out there and say, Andy Reid, I'm going to kill you if you don't give me the ball 30 times. Like that, you have to work with the pieces you have. Now, I don't know. Elijah Mitchell must have done something so egregiously awful. And Rashard Smith should be touching the ball more. Dude, they handed the ball off to Clyde Edwards-Helaire 5 times. Like, what? You shouldn't have handed the ball off to Clyde Edwards-Helaire 5 times in a game on the season on the line game 4 years ago. What is this? It's just a very poorly
that was nonsense.
Like it just. That's the part of this that frustrates me, is I feel like there is still plenty conceptually with the offense that works. You've got a quarterback who can make every throw and can make it happen, and clearly has the ability to and is willing to put the team on his back when they need to go on his back in a situation like this. But like, if Hollywood Brown like took vacation for the next month, I wouldn't miss him. Like, Xavier Worthy was really good last season down the stretch, like way better than I expected he would be. This is the first game he's been a net useful player in like 6 weeks. Like, there's just not, and the running back room stinks. And again, I'm not mad at Kareem Hunt for being an old running back. I'm not mad at Clyde Edwards-Helaire for getting paid and getting a chance to come back to the team where all of his friends are. Like, I have no problem with those guys. But you've constructed a team that, as Alex Smith, former Chiefs quarterback, said on ESPN NFL Countdown then on Sunday morning, they put too much on Patrick Mahomes. And I think we saw that in the Super Bowl last year, which is an extreme example, and I recognize that there was too much. He had to do everything, and he can't do everything. In a game like this, other guys contributed. Rashee Rice is good. Rashee Rice is very good. Okay, so this isn't anything about him in particular. He has a big game today. Travis Kelce, for the way they're using him now, still effective. He's had a couple good weeks in a row. I'm not upset about Travis Kelce here, but there's just so much that 15 has to do week in and week out, and you put so much on this defense week in and week out when you just don't have enough guys who you can trust that, hey, this guy's going to go make a play. And I'm not going to do what the freaking CBS announced team always does. Well, when Tyreek Hill was around, that's ancient history at this point. That's 4 years ago. That is a lifetime in the NFL, literally longer than the average NFL career. I'm not talking about that. I just think there are too many guys on this team, too many pieces on this offense that are not needle-moving positive players. Mahomes is, reduced role Kelce still can be, Rashee Rice is. I don't know that there are other pieces than that. So in a game like this, it's awesome to find a way to win. And I give credit to the defense. We haven't touched on them yet. They were great down the stretch. You did briefly, Dan. Like, they were awesome down the stretch. Even my complaints about whatever the hell Shane Steichen was calling, they shut it down instantly. They were great, especially up front. Mahomes was awesome. Rashee Rice was awesome. I just worry about if you have a true do or die game like this in the postseason. I don't know that there are enough guys to carry you on to victory. I hate to be the negative Nelly here. We should be excited about this win. It just feels to me like one of those, if this happens in a postseason game and goes the other way, we probably should have seen it coming kind of situations.
They have trouble getting guys open one-on-one still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Worthy has been 100% maybe all season. Rice did not look 100% in the fourth quarter and overtime. He gutted it out, but I would keep a very close eye on his status for the quick turnaround for Thanksgiving. And I don't really know what this Chiefs offense looks like without him getting open, especially in some big spots there in the fourth quarter in particular and in overtime. But no, I think it's an entirely fair point. At the same time, there is still that meathead part of my brain that watches football and says, well, you got to be physical to win games in the National Football League. And the Chiefs were physical up front. Even when Trey Smith went out, I thought Mike Caliendo, he had one real bad miss on a pulling looked like a counter, and that was a bad miss, and that stands out. But other than that, you really didn't notice him out there, which is generally good. The Chiefs did the thing they had to do on offense, committing to that run to make life incrementally easier for Mahomes. Only incrementally, believe me, because again, for a quarterback whose receivers are struggling to get open one-on-one, you really see it in the red zone. Like the Chiefs offense right now in the red zone stinks because they do not have guys who are winning quick one-on-one. And some of that is Worthy is, I think, speed is compromised, and he's not able to run, some of those whip routes or those swings to the outside. They ran a back shoulder fade to Rashee Rice. He beat Sauce Gardner. Mahomes made a bad throw. Again, like Mahomes was incredible leading the comeback. I thought up until then it was kind of a subpar performance for Mahomes, not just in terms of his throwing, but in terms of his processing and his pocket presence as well. But when his team needed him, again, this is me head football guy brain talking here. When it becomes winning time in the National Football League, you just need guys who know how to go out there and win games. And the Chiefs have those guys. One other quick thought on the offense. The referees took points off the board and called a penalty on Juwan Taylor that was apparently bogus, and Gene Steratore said as much. And I hate that happened to that guy in particular, because I thought he held his own, played a pretty good football game other than that. But you get singled out when they're looking at you on every play. They're going to find something, even ticky-tack stuff on every single play, even invent something on you. And that's what happened to Juwan Taylor. I felt bad for him on that. Took Travis Kelce's rushing touchdown off the board there early in the game, and certainly changed the complexion of the game. That 4 points down the stretch could have been very important. Back to the defense. This is what we haven't seen from them all year, raising their level of play when the stakes got high in that fourth quarter in particular. They dared the Colts to try and make Daniel Jones beat them. They said, we are not going to let Jonathan Taylor do it. And he didn't. 58 yards. I don't have the number running in front of me right now.
Yep, 16 for 58.
16 carries, 58. Nobody's done that to Jonathan Taylor this year. Nobody. They were awesome defending the run because they committed all their resources to it and says, if you're going to beat us, you're going to do it with Daniel Jones making big-time plays. And there were a couple times they schemed Daniel Jones in some open throws. The long one to Ashton Doolin on the 3rd and short that set up the touchdown that put them up 14-3. There are a couple of other good ones as well where there were some busted coverages on the back end. Trent McDuffie's a guy I didn't think played to an all-pro standard until about the fourth quarter of this game. But then, again, when it gets to winning time in the National Football League, Daniel Jones is still going to be Daniel Jones. And I do think that there was too much of the game placed into his hands. The Chiefs took advantage. They got some pressure. Again, this was another game where Chris Jones, every place other than the stat sheet, was super impactful. And maybe the Chiefs' best defensive player. Drew Tranquill made a huge play on a 3rd down stop. I thought the play of Jalen Watson was very good. Couple of notable coverage stops and pass. Cook was really good. But yeah, when it came down to it, finally getting the stops, getting off the field, giving the offense a puncher's chance there to go win the game in the fourth quarter, go win the game in overtime. That's what we've been looking for this defense, a clutch performance, if you will, and we got one today.
Yeah, they were really good. And you summed up my thoughts very perfectly there, is that, look, the Colts offense, what the hell are you doing? But you have to take advantage of it, because if you don't, offenses still dictate tempo, they dictate pace, they dictate game script in the NFL and in football in general. You have to take advantage of it, because if you don't, they will still get you. They will still be able to knock you off. And the Chiefs did take advantage of it. I thought Chris Jones played really well today. And defensive tackle play is so funny because you can do so many things, defensive line play in general, because you can do so much right. He had like a half a tackle. That's it. No one cares. It does not matter how many tackles a defensive tackle has. It matters, are you getting pressure? Are you stuffing the run? Are you eating blocks, etc.? And I thought Chris Jones had a very, very solid game today, among others. I mean, it was a group effort. And you're right. You limit Jonathan Taylor, who I would argue going into this week was first or second when it came to offensive player of the year voting. If you were to vote today, I think he would get either the most or the second most votes for offensive player of the year in the NFL, right next to Jackson Smith-Njigba for the Seahawks, who has also been outrageous. Both have been incredible this year. But that's how good Jonathan Taylor has been. If you know how good JSN's season has been, you know how good Jonathan Taylor's season has been. And they limited him to nothing. I mean, 16 carries for 58 yards is useless. I mean, that's in the neighborhood of 3 yards a carry, just over 3 yards a carry. You're fine if you give that up. And if you make Daniel Jones beat you, you're probably going to win. He's probably not going to be able to do that. He has fit this system in Indianapolis very well, but he is still the limited guy in terms of his just ability to play drop back quarterback that he has always been. And the Chiefs did take advantage of it. So I think you summed it up really well there, Dan, that look, just because the other team makes mistakes or isn't game planning well, whatever, doesn't mean you're handed a game. You still have to go take it. Chiefs defense did that today. So I do give them some big time props. I thought Spags had a pretty good game plan, all things considered.
There are too many of you in the YouTube live chat right now making this point or something similar that we want to touch on before we wrap up here and get to our final thoughts to post on the screen. So our apologies and our thanks to everybody who's checking us out and hanging out in the live chat right now. But yeah, another horrendous game for the Chiefs special teams. It looked like a mismatch on paper special teams. It absolutely was. Nico Remigio is a net negative as a punt returner. I mean, the only way I'd say he's better than Sky Moore was because at least he catches the punts. But other than that, they're getting nothing from the return game. They don't cover. Like the Colts knew exactly what to do every time they returned a punt. They got good punt returns every single time. They knew how to set it up against the Chiefs scheme. They've got to got to get that fixed because that is a thing that has been costly. They have lost these one-score games on the margins all year and very nearly lost this one on the margins. They were -2 in the turnover department. And those turnovers, you could say, it was 14 points worth of turnovers. The interception by Latu on the opening drive for the Chiefs, that was a free 7 for the Colts. And the Chiefs were rolling on that drive where Hunt fumbled. That might have been 7 for them. 14 points in a 3-point game. Again, the margins are not favoring the Chiefs in this close game. In these close games, it's why they were 0-5 in them coming in. They are 1-5 after today, and they found a way because Patrick Mahomes found a way, because the defense found a way and delivered in the clutch moments. And just because they hadn't this season does not mean that they had, in fact, forgotten how. So the Chiefs go to 6-5. And my final thought, we'll go ahead and wrap up with a final thought here, Brendan. My final thought is, it does kind of feel like a season saver. And again, maybe that's too much Tony Romo in my ears for 4.5 hours today, which I need to consult a physician. That's entirely too much exposure to Tony Romo for a given day. Boy, how the mighty have fallen. But that really did feel that the sequence of plays, pretty much everything following the Hunt fumble, showed what these Chiefs are made of, showed that championship medal, that pride, all that intangible stuff that you earn from years of being the beast of the AFC. That all came out. They needed to dig down deep in their reserves to win this game. How much are you going to have left Thursday on the road in Dallas, which it's going to be a must-win game for them too. So that game now looks, I think, a little bit more interesting for me. Like, I think Dallas is pretty unserious and the Chiefs have a better roster, but boy, can you get to that again? Because not only do you have to get to that again on Thursday, I think they're going to have to get to that again 6 more times if they want to make the playoffs, just to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. And the final thought for me on this game is look, the thing that matters the most is you got to win. Mike McCarthy, who coached for a long time in Green Bay and obviously in Dallas too, he used to always say, you just got to get in the tournament. And if you get in the tournament, anything can happen. And yes, that sounds like we're talking college basketball here, but he meant it about the NFL. And that's true with this Chiefs team. And with the pieces you have at head coach / play caller, at quarterback, and your top 2 offensive weapons at the very least, old Travis Kelce and still really, really, really good Rashee Rice, you can go make something happen, especially if the defense plays this well. So you just have to find a way to get in. You find a way to win these games. You take that here if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm, as much as I have some complaints about what this roster looks like on the offensive side, you found a way to win. For today, that's the most important thing. Also, a quick preview thought about that Cowboys game, Dan. The Philadelphia Eagles have been stuck in the mud offensively, to say the least, for almost every single game of this entire season. They have 2 first-quarter touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys already today. Dallas's defense is the ultimate mouthwash. So everything I said today is going to look stupid because the Chiefs probably going to up 45 on Thanksgiving afternoon because Dallas can't stop a nosebleed. But I'm just saying I have long-term concerns about how it's built, but for the immediate future, for right now, for the fact that you had to win today, they got it done. Can't ask for much more.
That'll do it for our Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel and WIBW News on Facebook. Please like and subscribe for more video content just like this. I'll keep it real with y'all. We are probably not going to have one of these following the Thanksgiving Day game. That second game, that Cowboys game, always lands smack in the middle of dinner, and I am not putting down my 3rd piece of pumpkin pie to go do a YouTube video with these guys scattered to the wind for Thanksgiving. So that's probably not happening, but we'll have another one following the rest of the Chiefs games this season. We'll do one Christmas night. What the hell? Everybody will be asleep in our families by the time that one goes down. So, but no instant reaction after the Thanksgiving game. But do join us tomorrow on 580 Sports Talk from 3 to 6 Central on these very same video channels, and of course 580WIBW.com. On 580 WIBW FM 104.9. We'll have full reaction to this game. Our NFL insider Matt Bergeron will join us. We'll also have a full reaction to the college football weekend. KU gets pummeled in Ames. K-State loses an absolute heartbreaker, and an emotional Chris Kleiman speaks after that loss to the Utah Utes. We'll recap the weekend in college basketball with K-State losing a tough one against Nebraska on Friday night, and the rest of the sports weekend that was. You won't want to miss it tomorrow from 3 until 6, again, on these same video channels. So for Brendan Dzwierzynski, I'm Dan Lucero. Have a great rest of your Sunday. This has been a Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction from your friends at 580 Sports Talk.